From the first trailer of the Australian Office, negativity has been spilling all over the internet. When I saw the trailer, I was cautiously optimistic and said, let's give it a chance. Well, I've seen it.
I synced it!
And I want to talk about a couple of reasons why the Australian Office just doesn't really work for me. I'm going to be splitting this into two videos. In this video, we're talking about the character dynamics, and in the next video, I'll be talking about the boss. But before we get into that, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss new videos. Now, I don't live under a rock, so I've seen the US Office, and I'm not an uncultured swine, so I've seen the UK Office. Both have their problems, but both have more positives than negatives, I'd say. So we have winning formulas we can compare to. And when you think of The Office, UK or US versions, you might think of an aspect that is present in both shows, that being pranks.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
It's a fun part of the show. Jim pranking Dwight works because most of us can relate to having an annoying coworker in our space all the time, doing dumb things. We wish we could mess with them and annoy them as much as they annoy us. However, in the Australian version of The Office, there is a notable lack of pranks happening here, and a shift in the natural dynamics of the coworkers. And this is due in part to a change in the job functions of the characters. Lizzie, Dwight's Aussie counterpart, is now a secretary, and Nick, the Aussie Jim, sits 15 feet away. This changes the natural function between the two. By having Nick not sit by Lizzie, there's no growing tension and the opportunity for easy pranks. If they don't sit next to each other, Nick almost has to go out of his way to annoy Lizzie, who, in this iteration, really isn't deserving of pranks in the first place. Yes, Lizzie is weird and has her quirks, but she really hasn't done the level of obnoxious behavior like Dwight or Gareth had to warrant these pranks. It was funny when Jim pranks Dwight because Dwight did annoying things that warranted pranks. And the fact that Dwight was his superior and older made it funnier, honestly. Here, it just doesn't really work for a salesman and his co-salesman to pull pranks on a secretary. If Greta and Nick were to continue pulling pranks on Lizzie, it would seem more like one department thinking they're better than the other. Nick and Greta, this version's Pam, pull one notable prank, making Lizzie believe there's a spiritual sign on the carpet that will produce good karma if you tell it your secrets, only to find out it was a soy sauce stain left there by Lloyd when he was living in the closet. Another dynamic shift in the Australian version of The Office is the Jim Pam or Nick and Greta situation. When Pam started, she was a quiet secretary stuck in a dead-end job and a dead-end relationship. As the series went along, she gained her confidence and became a strong character. The strong Pam was always in there, but Jim was the one who helped her see it. Greta, on the other hand, is arguably already confident, as she is a salesman in this version and now her secretary. She doesn't display the same timid nature as her American counterpart, which only leaves her stuck in her dead-end relationship. The will they, won't they relationship that was found in Jim and Pam that took 3 seasons to build is already on display here, as Greta fully admits to flirting with Nick as an engaged woman.
Riling up Lizzie, flirting, watching Nick rile up Lizzie.
In fact, they almost kiss in this season, which seems a little premature to me. What would have been interesting is if the show went full gender swap. Have Nick be the engaged secretary and have Greta be the prankster to Lizzie to the enjoyment of Nick. It probably wouldn't have worked, but it might have been more interesting than watching this, to be honest with you. All this to say, the show is not a complete disaster. I found myself actually laughing out loud sometimes. There are some funny bits in there, notable of which is the Wake episode. I'm interested where they take this show and how the shift in character dynamics will produce a need for carving its own path among the different versions of The Office. Thank you so much for watching up to this point. If you're keen, please leave us a like and subscribe so you don't miss out for part 2. Also check out our podcast, the Stale Popcorn Podcast, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and pop culture. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much and have a great day.